Oh, hello.
Wayne, I hear you and I see you.
I you. We
We
had to
got
do it.
there.
Sorry about all this, but we did it.
we we got there. All right. Good, good, good.
So let me set this up. So, okay, sitting here at my computer thing. So
Good.
here, how you doing?
Very good. Very good. So tell me
I'm
about
fine.
how was your visit?
Oh my gosh, I'm exhausted with my grandkids. I had two of them here. One was a 10-year-old boy, and the other one was a 9-year-old girl. And
Uh-huh.
what was frustrating about the whole thing is to try to get two of them to agree on some activity.
Oh no.
All that was tough. We had access to our neighbor's pool, which lives behind us, so we could just
Yeah.
walk up the hill and go swimming. That was usually okay. But when we started getting to more other things, such as, let's go to the skating rink or let's go bicycling, it got more difficult.
Mhm.
But they were here for 3 weeks. That's a long time.
That
Uh,
is a long time. So
yeah.
were the parents here too, or it must have just the kids?
Well, they were here for the first week over
Got
4th
it.
of July, and they both left. So they left
Got
the
it.
kids here with us.
Okay.
So, you know, it was interesting. And then I was sleeping with the boy, and this kid, he was all over the bed at night. I really didn't get much sleep, so it was pretty tiring.
Wow.
Uh, you'll find out when you get your grandkids.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did you know that I'm going to have one?
I did not know. I figured it was
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah. Yep. Brianna's pregnant and her due date is December 17th.
December 17th. Do we know male, boy, girl? What is it?
Girl. Girl.
Oh, wonderful. Great. And
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody's excited.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And
Yes. Yes.
you're going to be a grandma.
I'm gonna be a
Brian's good.
grandma.
And you're
And
going to be a
that's
grandpa,
cool.
Brian. That's a
Yep.
new role.
It's a
It's
new
it's
role.
it's a much better than being the parent, let me tell you, because you can always send them back to the
Yeah.
parent.
Yeah. And I already told Brianna that I'm gonna be the vacation grandma that
Okay.
they either the kids come and visit us at the beach for
Yes.
vacations or we take them all on vacations.
Yes. There we go.
I'm not going to be be at every ball game practice and
Oh,
play play type of grandma.
no, you can't be when you're this far away, but we took them down to Owa,
Nice.
and Tatum to pickleball quite a bit. So they were up there playing pickleball and getting into
Oh, that's
that.
good. Yeah, no, I know you asked me if I was willing
Yeah.
to help teach them and it's just too stinking hot. We have not been playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Scott. Do you know Scott up here? Scott, tall guy.
Clement or older or
He's probably young. He's head of Bayside Security down
yes,
here.
yes. Then I know which Scott you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a good
He,
one.
he, he was very good, I have to say. So I
Good.
was happy with him. So
Very good.
so we got him a lesson to get him started. So
Awesome.
anyway,
I'm
so
excited. I'm kind of excited. So did they really take to it
I
or
I think William was interested. He liked it, I think. So he wanted to go quite a bit while he was here. Let's go. Let's go. Let's
oh,
go in the morning. So now his father's going to be taking him, I guess, in Virginia. So he's up there.
wow. Yeah.
So so he was into it, and he's a big kid. Like this kid is like he's 10 years old, and he's like 5 foot 2, 3. So he's big, he's huge, and he's got these arms that he extends out, and it's like a windmill. It's like huge. So he's got quite the reach and everything. So he can he doesn't have to really run that much. He can just hit him over.
Yeah, he can cover some ground.
He covers ground pretty good there. So anyway, so
And
we got him
I
on that, and then we
good.
took him fishing, and down at the pier here. We had them at the pier fishing and took them out on the boat and, went to Owa and went to the beach and went to the skating rink and oh, everything you can think of. Went to the laser tag. They like to play laser tag and then
Okay.
took them to an arcade over here. Took them to tracks. They like the racing cars. I don't know how many times we went racing, the
Oh,
racing car things, go around the
like
tracks and
a go-kart
a
thing?
go
Okay.
kart things. Yeah,
Yeah.
they like that stuff. So did a lot of that. Uh, uh, So it was quite active. So
Yeah.
anyway, but they're gone. Cindy's up there with them. She took them back to Virginia,
Okay.
and now she's got to take Nora back to Portland, Oregon. She's going to fly with her back to Oregon and spend a week out there with Lindsay. So
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was just gonna ask how she liked having them there. You guys, she must have been just as happy as can be.
yeah, well, no, yeah, I was worried about Nora that she was pretty close with her mother, but she did great. She did fine here, so she must have felt pretty comfortable here. So
Good.
so anyway, that's all behind us, thank goodness.
Yeah.
So
So there's not another one scheduled yet?
well, my son, he's been selected to be a commanding officer of a missile destroyer. And when you're in a senior position like that, the wife has to accompany you for training. So
Oh,
they're going to take my son and his wife up for training out there outside of the Pentagon somewhere about how to entertain people, how to interact with, different people. I don't know.
oh
So
wow.
so he's going to be in that. So when he goes up to do that, which is the end of August, he's asked me to go up there and help with the boys because it'll be
Okay.
just Cindy. Believe me, you need two people there
Oh, I
with
believe
three
it.
boys.
I
Three
believe
boys, it's nuts.
it. So you've got
So,
another, so you've got a little bit of a break and then in the end of
but then
August
I'm
you
going up.
get to go again. Now, I
Yeah,
do think it probably will be easier though being at their own
yes,
house. Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
easier. Yes,
Yeah.
than being here. Yeah, yeah, it was just a lot more. Everything had to be rearranged and for them and had to give them the right food. And oh, it was something.
Oh my goodness.
You're going to find out all about this stuff
I
here.
I can't wait.
It's
And
fun though.
because
It's
like you
fun.
said, yeah, yeah, because
It is fun.
like you said, it's a choice of how much time you're willing to invest in that because
Yes,
there are other grandparents and other relatives that can step in too. So,
absolutely.
I definitely want to be there, but
Part of their life. You want to be part of their life,
not all the
but not 24/7,
time. Right. Right.
365 days a year. Now that's
Yeah.
behind you now.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So,
Well, if we may continue on, so why don't you tell me about Wayne Mockel, the early years?
oh gosh. How far do you want me to go back? I was
Well,
born.
just whatever you care to share. Just knowing that this will be available for people to watch on the internet long after you're gone. So
Okay.
what are the highlights of things that you would like to have people know?
Interesting. Interesting. Well, okay. Actually, what's interesting about us, I am actually writing my autobiography. So I've been accumulating already. I have like 40 pages now of things that I recall, remember, because I want my pass this on to my kids and the grandkids. They know something about their parents, their
Yeah.
grandparents, further back. They have some idea. So I've been writing down actually I started it with the things I remember about my father, who fought in World War II, and So all the stories that he told me before he died, so I've been writing them down. So there's some record of this.
That's
So
awesome. I love that idea that and that you're
yeah,
doing it while you still have, that you had the thoughtfulness to
yeah,
think to do that, to pass that on.
yeah. So I want to pass this on. So anyway, so it all started with that, and then I just started adding my autobiography to that from that point on. But yeah, it started with my father, and of course, my father to me was my hero. He was the guy that fought in World War II. Uh, started fighting right after Pearl Harbor. He got drafted in, and and he didn't actually have to go. Now this is a story. He was a kneeler in the steel mill. A kneeler is a pretty technical position in that you treat these steel to give it different characteristics. So it can be used in different applications. Steel is not just steel. That's what people
Wow.
don't realize. You just don't make steel. It
Okay.
is, they make it for certain applications. They'll put it through certain heat treating, they'll expose it to acid, they'll actually add different alloys into it, depending on what it's going to be used for. So not many people realize that. And that's what
No,
he
yeah.
was. He was an annealer. So it was considered during World War II a position that was critical to the war effort
Mm.
because you had to treat this steel and give it different characteristics. So he thought that would keep him out of the war. So he went to his foreman, true story, and says, I need you to write a letter to the draft board here. He was living in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, telling them that I'm an annealer and I can be excluded from service. He refused to do it because he had a buddy that he wanted to put into my father's position,
Mm.
replace him as an annealer. So he never could get him to write the letter. So right after Pearl Harbor, because he couldn't get him to do it, he was drafted
Oh.
and he was sent down. He was sent immediately to to Georgia for basic training in the army. And because they were afraid the Japanese were going to invade Hawaii, they did not give him the full length of time for training. It was supposed to be 12 weeks. They cut it to 4 weeks or something. And they shipped him out on a railroad train all the way to San Francisco. And in San Francisco, he said that they put all the troops in an enclosed area with big fences around them. And they put them on the ships right there and sent them to Hawaii immediately because they were expecting an invasion. And so he told me, he says it was uh, when he went on those troop carriers, he decided that if the Japanese would sink one of those things, he didn't want to be down in the hole down below. So he slept on the decks. And he
Oh,
says
wow.
he had to sleep on the decks, and he says they were zigzagging and all the way over there to Hawaii because they were afraid of a torpedo attack. So anyway, when they finally got to Hawaii, when they got off at Hawaii, the people there said, we didn't expect you people to make it. We thought you'd be sunk out there. The Japanese would have taken you people out. So, so the
Wow.
first thing they did, they landed and they were on the beach and they started putting in, barbed wire and everything, getting ready for the Japanese to invade, putting in bunkers and things like that. And then they actually went in and started, he was an MP. And he actually went in and started arresting different Japanese and their citizens because they were afraid that they were, sending information back to Japan about Pearl Harbor because it was blown up. In fact, the ships were still burning in there. They were still trying to get people out. That's how fast he got there. Like it was right after that, and he was like in February, March, he was in Hawaii. So that's where he started. He had quite an experience. So anyway, they formed the 25th Tropical Lightning Division, it was called, out of the Hawaii. And that was the one that was used by the Army for a lot of the occupation in the South Pacific. So the first place they went to was Guadalcanal, which of course there was a huge battle going on at that time. And the Marines had been there for a long period of time on Guadalcanal, and the Army landed there, and they went in to replace the Marines because they had been there for so long fighting. They were just depleted. So his division, his regiments went into the Guadalcanal, and he landed there. And the first thing they had to do on their landing craft, they had to unload aviation fuel. And that shook him up because he realized that if they would have got hit by a bomb, they would all been dead because it was full of aviation fuel, which they needed for those planes over there. So they unloaded that, and then they started building all kinds of bunkers and things in that. And he went in about how many times they were hit by these battleships coming up the slot. The Japanese would come in at night and they would bomb them with their battleships. And he says one of the things you had to do was you had to get into those bunkers right away, or else you'd get killed out there. And him and his buddies built this bunker made with, I guess, those tropical trees, those palm trees. They put logs and dirt and everything on top of it, and they would run in there during the bombing, the shelling. And if you didn't get in there, you ended up dead. So after the shelling occurred, they'd have to go up and take care of the dead people. And then the
Yeah.
Japanese would come over and strafe them during the day. So they were strafed during the day by Japanese fighters. They were bombed at night with these battleships coming in. So he was in the middle of this thing. Anyway, uh, and he has stories. The one story that stands out to me was typical of my father. He told me that one day they were being strafed by these Japanese Zeros that had come in. And he could see they came in so close that you could see the Japanese pilots in these. That's how close they came in. And he said that one time he saw one come in and he could tell the Japanese pilot was dead. And it wrecked not too far away from their camp. This Zero smashed in and blew up. And he said after the air raid, they ran in, his buddies and him ran in, and they went after the propellers on the Japanese Zeros are made of aluminum. So he went in and they grabbed that aluminum propeller and took it back to the camp, and they started making rings out of it. Well, it just so happened that the officers wanted that propeller for their officers' club. They wanted to put it up above their thing as a war memento. So they were searching for this propeller. And of course, my father had it in his tent and they were making rings. This is typical of something my father would do. This is typical of what he would do. So anyway, he went through Guadalcanal and he was let me see, he was bit by a scorpion, he got malaria real bad. And his division got so bad from tropical diseases, they had to pull him out and take him down to New Zealand for a period of time. Anyway, so he was deeply involved in the war, but he came home and, you know, he would tell me all these stories. I could go on and on. I memorized them all. But anyway, he settled in back where he was, which is in Pittsburgh, and he got a job at Irvin Works, which was a steel mill outside of Pittsburgh that made sheet metal and was an annealer. So here we go. Now here's it goes. So he came back. So according to the laws at that time, whatever position you had before you went into the military, you were supposed to get that same position back. So he came back, and that same guy that he ended up in the war was still in that position. So he went down to the union hall and told them, I want my job back. And they wouldn't give it to him. But my father went berserk. And he threatened him with, I'm going to let everybody know that you're here I was fighting the war over there, and you guys are making all this money, and and you won't give me my job back. Well, he made such a fuss that he finally got his job back. This is typical of my father too, how he had to fight for everything. Nothing was
Wow.
just given to him. Anyway, so he was back in his old position. But anyway, so I had a sister. She was older than me, and then we had another sister who died at birth. Her name was Donna. And my sister was alive was Linda, and then me in 1952 I was born. So in McKeesport. So I grew up in a steel mill and area. So you wouldn't see the sun till about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. At night, you could hear the blast furnace running, the locomotives. It was a steel town where I grew up at. It was kind of a rough and tumble place where I grew up at. So anyway, so that's where I grew up in Pittsburgh, and McKeesport actually is the name of it, and that was called the Monongahela Valley, and there was just one steel mill after another in that valley, and uh, and that was good, and until about 1982, and I actually started working in the steel mills. I got a degree in chemistry, and I got a job as a production chemist in one of the steel mill areas. I was the head of a lab there, and everything was fine until about 1982 when all the steel mills got shut down and 50,000 people lost their jobs. So, did the government do anything when 50,000 people, steel workers, lost their jobs in the Monongahela Valley? Not a thing. We were all just let go. It was no, it was nothing. So what happened there was you had to move. You had to move all
Mm,
over the country to get a job, a decent
okay.
paying job. You could get a job flipping burgers if that's how you wanted to raise your family like that. But I didn't want to raise my family on something like that. So I had to move. So I was very fortunate that I got a job with Gulf Oil, who happened to have a research center there in Pittsburgh at that time. And I was very fortunate. I got a job there and I worked there for a while. And then another Chevron came in and bought out Gulf Oil and shut down the Gulf Oil place there. And I was they had a big layoff, but I was able to get a position in West Texas. So Cindy and I and Lindsay, who we had a Lindsay by that time, we moved to West Texas to work in the oil fields down there. Uh, so got a job down there for a couple of years and worked there in Odessa, Texas, what it was. And that was quite an experience. There were no trees there, oil jacks everywhere. Everything was based on oil and gas production. And so I was a area representative down there. And what I did was I went around and checked the to make sure that the meters that were used in custody transfer were correct, that the densitometers were correct, to go around and check all the chemical analysis that we were getting proper analysis, proper analysis. Let me get rid of it. So I did all that work, and I did that for a while. And what I started to worry about was the fact that I was down there, and if for any reason I would lose my job there, I, it would have been devastating to me. So I happened to see an advertisement for a company called Sibagagi, and I put in an application or a resume to them. And lo and behold, they called me. And so I went for an interview, and it was in Toms River, New Jersey. And they wanted to start to automate all their chemical production in this one facility in Toms River, New Jersey. So I thought that was pretty interesting that I'd be able to be on the automation and analyzer technology stuff, which is what I was interested in doing anyway. So they offered me a job. Not only did they offer me a job, but they guaranteed that if I sold my house in Odessa, that they would make sure that I would not lose any money whatsoever, that everything would be paid for. They were going to transfer me up. They were going to give me a big increase in pay. I said, yeah, I'm coming. So I took the job. So I ended up, Tom's were in New Jersey for a couple of years, and they eventually got into environmental issues with the local people there as far as how they were treating their waste and everything. And the decision was made by upper management to move everything to Mobile, Alabama. And the plant here was located about 50 miles north of Mobile. It was called the McIntosh plant. So I inquired about moving here to Mobile, Alabama, and they accepted me. So my family and I, we moved down here along with Derek. Derek was just born in New Jersey, and we moved down here. So I spent the next, well, since 1986, I've been here in this area. For a while, I was in Mobile. And then we had an opportunity to buy a piece of property over here next to our friends who moved over here from West Mobile. They were the Betzels, and they live behind us now. They were our neighbors over there in West Mobile, and they wanted us to move over here too. So Cindy and I decided we'll move. So we moved, built a house, customized house there, and just the way we wanted it, and got a piece of property for a very good price, uh, practically nothing, like $40,000 for 3/4 of an acre here on the Eastern Shore, which of course now would be 300,000 or something like that now, so it was a good investment. So we built our house and moved over here and worked at the Ciba-Geigy plant in McIntosh for 25 years. Ended up head of the corporate worldwide effort for online analytics. I was the lead team leader there in that, and we were funded directly from Switzerland, our group. So what we did there was we developed online technologies, mostly with spectroscopy, some type of spectroscopic method, so we could analyze both chemical and physical properties of our products online in real time. So real time would be like within 1 minute. We could scan it and tell you exactly how much to add of various components, what its properties will be, without even having to pull a sample out of it. So that's the type of technology I was involved in. So we were able to do all kinds of different applications using that technology. And we probably had $1 million worth of spectroscopic equipment in our lab. We got anything we asked for, they would get it for us. We had instruments in there that were not yet on the market, but the vendors wanted us to look at their equipment and software and give them feedback before they put it up. So we were testing their equipment for them. So we were able to work with some pretty interesting technologies, and one of them was near infrared. We did a lot of work with near infrared and also Raman spectroscopy. Did a lot of Raman spectroscopy, which was basically very new technology. And then we also did a lot of infrared, UV vis. We did mostly infrared for the process development group that was there and the research group that was there. So we would help them uh, with different applications. And I was also the LIM system manager for the lab there that had all the analytical data stored on it and all that. So I took care of all that. So anyway, I did that for a while until BASF came in and bought Ciba-Geigy out, and then of course they started cutting people, and eventually they got to us and they let our group go along with hundreds of people. And I ended up my friend Laurie. She has a PhD from Rutgers. Anyway, she got a job with Evonik over there at Theodore. And they had an opening for a chemist, so she got me on board over there. So I was a chemist there for a while. I also taught school or the chemical labs for general chemistry at the University of South Alabama for a while. And I did consulting work too. So I was doing consulting work, did that. And then eventually I got on with Avonic and worked there for till I was 66. And then after that, I retired, found pickleball.
Now we get
And
to the point where I know, now I know you from
now
there on. Yeah.
now we're
But
coming into the
yeah.
Stacy Bryan
Yeah, but
time.
I find it interesting that we meet all these people at a certain point in their life, and you've been through how many identities, and
I know.
with your father and being a father to two
Yes.
children,
Now
and
I'm a
being
grandfather.
and being a husband, and now you're a
Uh,
grandfather, and
yep.
all the different roles that you mentioned,
Yep.
through work is just, and a lot of the people that we then meet on the pickleball court, we don't even know, about their past, what they
It's
did for
amazing.
a job, how many kids they may or may not have, what their relationship status is. You just, you take somebody from where you meet them and then move forward, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, not that it doesn't matter, but you don't know the history of what made that person who they are.
And how they came to be where they're at now.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
it was, I had a lot of movement, a lot of transfers, a lot of going to different places.
Yes.
Uh, but this area here, as far as all the areas I've been to, I like it the best. I mean,
Well, that's good. Because
I
otherwise
ended
I
up
would,
here.
yeah, otherwise I would be like, well, why aren't you at the other place? Why aren't
Yeah.
you so, yeah,
Why did you ask? Why did I go back to Pittsburgh? Why did I?
yeah.
I mean, that was one of the things when I retired. I got people, are you coming back to Pittsburgh? I said, no, I think I'll stay where I'm at. It was the first thing they thought, he's going to move back. No, no, no.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, and this is my view, I look at it like I lived in Pittsburgh. I know what it's like. It's fine. It was great. It was
Yeah.
good. It was nothing wrong with it. But I lived there. I've experienced Pittsburgh. I know Pittsburgh. So why would I want to go back to someplace I've already been? I
Sure.
want to go to a new place. So that I guess that's something about me. I'm not afraid to get out there, explore different places, try different things. Some people don't like that. I'd
Mhm.
rather go back to where I grew up and be
Mhm.
there. Me, no, I'm out here. This area here, it's got its pluses and minuses, but every place has pluses and minuses. So you gotta take them both. But I like this area. It's great. It's fine.
Yeah.
Um, I there were three things that I knew when I was 30, 40 years ago. There were three things I knew about my life. I wanted to live in a warm place. Well, this is pretty damn warm here.
Yeah.
Near the water. Number two, near the water. Mobile Bay is right here.
Yeah.
And three, work on online analytics. All three I've accomplished in my lifetime. I did it.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
pretty happy, I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
that way.
Everything else is a bonus.
Everything else that happens now is just a bonus. I
Yeah.
do a little consulting work, and that's pretty much my days. I do what I want to do here. I do find that I on a somewhat of a schedule. It's not a stick to the exact minute schedule, but I seem like I function better with some type of itinerary for the day. That I do different things at different times, and I'm good with that. So,
Okay. Would
but
you would
anyway,
you would you care to share what a typical weekday would look like? Or I don't even know
pretty
if
much
I don't know if weekday or weekend it makes a difference or not, but
yeah,
what's a typical day look like then?
yeah. Typical day is, of course, I get up and pretty early, 5 o'clock, 5:30, eat breakfast, go to pick a ball for a couple hours, leave around 10 o'clock, somewhere in that time. Get back, eat a little lunch, play guitar for a couple hours.
Ooh,
Uh, I'm investing a lot of time in playing guitar, so something that I always wanted to do, but when you have a family and you got all this work, you don't have time for. Now
Yeah,
I have time.
good.
So I got time and I'm learning how to play guitar pretty good. So anyway, so I play guitar for a while. Uh, and at this middle of the day, it's kind of a thing where, maybe I'll sit down and write on my autobiography. I'll sit there and write things that I remember down. Or maybe I'll do some chores around the house that have to be done,
Mhm.
so in the middle of the day. And then around 2 o'clock, I usually end up at the gym. Uh, and I bicycle for approximately an hour on that. And then I weight lift. And I'm trying to, I think that's important too at my age, because if you don't stay physically active, you're going to lose your body strength. And if
Yes.
you lose your body strength, then you get dependent on people. And I don't want that. I want to stay as independent as long as I can. So I go to the gym. I do my sit-ups. I do what I have to do so I can do things. And I can still do things at 73. I can do things um, pretty pretty well. I can do physical work still. So, and then of course, some days I will go fishing. There's options. Go fishing or go bicycling. Sometimes I go bicycling. Just bicycle around. Uh, uh, that's kind of stuff that I do actually. Uh, but I am spending a lot of time with my music stuff. So I'm trying to
Oh,
learn some music theory, you know, how music works and how all that comes together. So so I do that, and basically that's a typical day for me.
and then what about the evenings?
I'll watch TV or read a book, or I like to play a lot of online chess, to keep my mind occupied. I like playing online chess. They have apps now. You have like, you can just go online and you can play anybody in the whole world who's signed up to this app. You're playing people from all over the world, and they evaluate you after each game, and they give you a different ranking, and you see if you can go up in your ranking and all that. So I
Mm-hmm.
like playing a lot of chess. So that's the kind of stuff that I do when
Awesome. I know
yeah.
Brian for a little while got into chess, so maybe if I can get you guys together, you can
Yeah,
play against each other. What is the like site or app or whatever that you use?
chess.com is
Okay.
the one I think, but I will email I'll send you a text on the exact app that I'm on
Okay.
so he can get on the same one. And
Okay.
I'll
I
give
think
you
he
my
would like
name.
that. I think he would like that.
I give him a name, yeah. Yeah, I play with I of course there's some people with pickleball that I play with too that they're
Mm.
on that app. So anyway, yeah, the other thing I've been doing is I play with some people from pickleball guitar with. So we have a little group that sometimes get together.
Oh,
We play a little bit here and there. One guy you don't know is Claude. He's kind of a new person.
okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so he plays guitar, and then Dr. John plays guitar, and Dr. Dawn plays guitar. So we have a group that sometimes gets together and we play guitar.
Nice. Nice.
60, 70, 80 stuff.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Would you ever want to eventually perform or not? Just
I actually have performed.
oh,
I went to some old people's homes and have played there.
okay.
And eventually, yeah, someday I might be playing. And I have played in public before, yeah. At church. I've done a couple church things. I have a friend that from college, he did a lot of open performance, and I'd play with him sometimes. And so I've done that.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Neat.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that like you can't be when you have say younger children or children in the home and a wife
And you're working
and and you have a job and you've got to
and you
eat and shower and take care of your
yep.
house that Yeah, that get the playing
Mm.
of the instrument gets chunked down the list,
Yeah,
but
I had to chop it out of my life. I couldn't do it,
yeah.
And working for chemical plants, the thing about that is it's 24/7, 365. I'd be called into a plant in the middle of the night all the time. I mean, this was constant. They'd have
Mm.
an issue, they'd have a problem, and then they would call me in and spend the night there. It's awful. That
Okay.
that's part of working for chemical plants where they're working
Sure.
24/7,
Sure.
and you
Yeah.
get called in, you never know. So anyway, a lot of the time I felt I was called in, and it was not really necessary for me to be called in. It was like going in with somebody and just holding their hands. It's
Mm.
fine. It's okay.
It's okay. We'll get through
Don't
this.
worry about it.
We'll
It'll be
figure it
all
out.
right. I know. It's like that was a lot of the time. That's what I would do. There's nothing wrong here, but
Mm.
some of the operators they get a little shaky, worried about things. So,
Mm.
but anyway.